I don't know how the hell. I don't know how the hell Spider-Man does this. Enigma here again. Um, I saw the midnight showing of Spider-Man last night, and I want to get into this review. And I have to say it's a pretty good movie. I'm not saying it just because I'm a fanboy, but because I think it was a good movie. Spider-Man: Far From Home, starring Tom Holland as Spider-Man, of course, and a lot of people got their criticism of Tom Holland, but I think he's a pretty neat Spider-Man. It kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man back in the '80s, the animated series, The Amazing Spider-Man. Um, Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio, which I think he played a pretty good role. Sam Jackson as Nick Fury. Melissa Tomei is young Aunt May, and John Favreau, I hope I'm not butchering his name, as Happy Hogan. Now, the movie takes place in Europe. Peter and his classmates are going on a high school class trip, and Peter is kind of overwhelmed with being Spider-Man, so he does everything in his power not to bring the suit and not to be Spider-Man while he's on vacation in Europe. But Aunt May packs the suit in his luggage without his knowledge, and he finds out when he gets to Europe that Spider-Man suit's here, so he can't leave Spider-Man behind. You know, he can't leave his duties behind him. I like the way that he finally got some guts and decided to develop a relationship with MJ, played by Zendaya. MJ, not to be confused with Mary Jane Watson, and I'm hearing everybody's making this false comparison. This is a completely different character. This is not Mary Jane Watson, just to make that clear. Now, the comedian J.B. Smoove was also in this movie. He was one of the chaperones for the field trip, and he was a good comic relief. You know, he didn't get a lot of screen time, but when he was in there, he tried his best to be funny, and I like him as a comedian. I kind of liked him in this movie. Now, Nick Fury follows Spider-Man to Europe, and he has a mission for him, and it has to deal with Mysterio. Now, Mysterio, aka Quentin Beck, was a former employee of the late Tony Stark. Now, as Mysterio, he tries to portray a hero, which is kind of contradictory to the comic books and to the animated series. Mysterio was never a hero, he was always a villain, so it's kind of weird that they would go this route and make Mysterio kind of appear of a hero at first, but of course he turns to a villain. This Mysterio created a scenario that was so realistic it even fooled Nick Fury, and he thought that the Earth was actually in danger, which it really wasn't. Now, Tony Stark left Peter Parker a gift. He entrusted Peter Parker with all of his technological inventions and powers, and he believed in Peter Parker so much that he would leave him this great gift. Now, young Peter Parker finds himself at a quandary. He's forced to make a tough decision. Does he want to be a kid and be a small-time neighborhood Spider-Man hero, or does he want to put on his big boy pants and bring Spider-Man to the big stage and become the hero that everyone wants him to be? And he's forever living in the shadow of the late Tony Stark. Everywhere we go, we see a remembrance of Tony Stark and the big shoes that this young Peter Parker has to fill. Now, it's good finally to see Spider-Man kind of grow up, because I understand the first movie where, you know, he's a kid, he's just learning his powers, and he's just coming into himself, but now he's an Avenger. He's honed his skills. Now, there were a lot of epic battles in this movie. The CGI was on point. Spider-Man pulled through in the end, and he proved that he deserved to have the responsibility that the late Tony Stark bestowed upon him. A little bit of a spoiler alert here. this isn't the end. There's going to be another movie. It showed us some things that are in the future, and it kind of gave us a little glimpse into the future of the MCU universe. And there are some things to come. I'm not going to say what happened. Just know that there are bigger things to come, much bigger things that are on their way, and you're going to be very surprised when you see what happens at the end. Well, that's all I'm going to give away about this movie. I thought it was pretty neat. I'll give it a 10. I'm not just saying this because a Spider-Man geek, but I'm saying it because I really enjoyed the movie. It was worth me going to see the movie at 12 a.m. This is Eddie Enigma once again. You have been enigmified, Spidey style, and I will see you in the next one. Peace. Nah, you know what? That is too hard. I'm just gonna go take the elevator. Go see the movie. See you guys later.